before you, our heart is filled with a mix of emotions, a blend of concern, determination, and hope. It's with great honor and humility that we, Sister Asya and I, Zana Manzoor, on behalf of Department of Clinical Biochemistry, welcome you all to this significant symposium on drug abuse, challenge, awareness, and redressal. Kashmir, nestled in the breathtakingly beautiful Himalayan regions, has long been celebrated for its picturesque landscapes, rich cultural heritage, and resilient people. However, presently we are facing a concerning issue of drug abuse in our valley. Herein, on this day, we are going to shed light on the complex and multifaceted challenge of drug abuse in Kashmir Valley. In recent years, Kashmir has faced an alarming increase in drug abuse cases, posing a significant threat to its social, economic, and health systems. Factors contributing to this rise are multifaceted, ranging from socio-economic disparities, lack of educational opportunities, high levels of unemployment, and persistent shadow of conflict-induced trauma in the youth of Jammu and Kashmir particularly. Drug abuse affects not only individuals, but it erodes the social fabric, leads to the breakdown in interpersonal relationships, and hampers the region's development. The physical and mental health consequences of drug abuse are far-reaching, exacerbating existing health challenges and burdening an already strained healthcare system. Each one of us here today have been touched by the devastating impact of drug abuse, whether directly or indirectly. We have witnessed the destruction it leaves in its wake. Shattered lives, fractured families, and communities torn apart. Therefore, it's time for us to rise above the darkness and reclaim our society from the clutches of this menace. In the world where drug abuse has become an alarming epidemic, it's imperative that we come together, united in our resolve to solve this pressing issue. The collaboration between the Department of Clinical Biochemistry, University of Kashmir, the Institute of Mental Health and Neuroscience, Government Medical College, Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir Science, Technology and Innovation Council, and the Department of School Education, Kashmir, exemplifies the power of collective action and our shared commitment to bring about a positive change. This symposium is a platform where knowledge will be shared, experiences will be exchanged, and the innovative ideas will be nurtured. To the experts, researchers, and the practitioners in our midst, I implore you to share your knowledge and insights generously. Your expertise will guide us towards the evidence-based strategies, prevention programs, and the comprehensive rehabilitation approach that will pave way for a drug-free society. This special program serves as a starting point for exploring the intricate and nuanced issue of drug abuse in Kashmir. In the sessions to follow, we'll delve deeper into the root causes, socio-economic dynamics, health implications, and potential solutions to this pressing challenge. As we embark on this journey, let's not forget the individuals who have fallen victim to drug abuse. Their stories, their struggles, and their pain are the driving force behind our collective efforts. It's our duty, our moral obligation to extend our hands to them, offering compassion, understanding, and support.
The primary objective of today's symposium is to bring forth the awful and the deadly menace of drug abuse, highlight the challenges, bring about awareness, and to find vivid solutions. Although I'm glad as the organizer of the event to see you all here, but we are all concerned and pained to see the menace which we all are facing. Recently, the Standing Committee on Social Justice and Empowerment submitted its report to both houses of the Parliament, where it was declared that around 13.65 lakh individuals in UT are affected with drug abuse. And mostly they use heroin through injectable mode. Age group that is affected is 10 to 17 in children and 17 to 85 years in adults. Children mostly using opioids, cannabis, inhalants, and sedatives. So these figures, which have been reported from JKUT, they are highest in India, followed by Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, and northeastern states. So now, what has brought our youth to this extreme? Are we a failed society? So this is the aim for the session, and this is the answer we are trying to look for. So we all have come across the saying that prevention is better than cure. So can we break this chain and nip the evil in the bud? Most of the drug abuse, it starts with a puff of cigarette. So government, it came up with COTPA, that is Cigarette and Tobacco Act Prohibition Act 2003, which prohibits sale of cigarettes within 100-meter radius of educational institutions. Also, it prohibits sale of open or loose cigarettes so that to maximize exposure to pictorial warnings which are present on the cigarette packets. Now the question, $1 million question rather, is, are the guidelines being followed? Studies, they have shown that the nicotine early exposure, it changes the brain's rewarding mechanism, especially during the adolescent years when brain is rapidly maturating. So long-term changes happen in the brain chemistry. According to one of the reports from IMHANS, 3 out of 100 adults are addicted. 1 in every 4 user is unemployed. And as mostly they are using IV modes, so it has also increased the incidence of infections like hepatitis B, C, and HIV. Therefore, dear friends, the task is uphill. As the challenges associated, they are not only health risks, but they are social, psychological, and economic burdens. Most of the crimes which are being reported nowadays are attributed to drug addicts. So now, what we are all supposed to do? A comprehensive approach is the joint call for all of us to respond at our own levels, to educate our students and youth about the fearful slavery, the dependence and the remorse which comes to their life after momentary rewards of drug abuse and high feels. प्यारे बच्चों, प्यारे तुलबा, आप सबको अल्लाह ताला ने बेशुमार नेमतों से नवाजा है, आपको बनाया है बेस्ट ऑफ द क्रिएशन। सो अपनी सलाहियतों को पहचानें, उनको निखारें, अपने वालिदैन और कौम के लिए बाइस फ़ख्र बने।
Hopefully you have heard it about through press, through social media, या किसी और तरीके से भी आपको पहचान हुआ होगा या सुना होगा कि अगर हम बात करें प्यार की, अगर हम बात करें रेस्पेक्ट की, अगर हम बात करें अपलिफ्टमेंट की, तो हमें हमेशा अपनी माँ बाप ही याद आते हैं। तो अगर दुनिया में किसी से सबसे ज़्यादा प्यार होता है तो वो माँ बाप के साथ है। पर्टिकुलरली योर मदर इज़ मोस्ट डियर टू ऑल ऑफ अस, प्रोबेबली ऑल ऑफ अस। एंड अगर हम मज़हब की बात करें, इस्लाम की बात करें या दूसरे मज़हबों की बात करें, तो उसमें भी हमारे मज़हब में भी है कि हमारे माँ के पैरों के तले जन्नत है। तो मैंने इसलिए मिसाल दे रहा हूँ क्योंकि आपने देखा होगा, आपने सुना भी होगा, आपने पढ़ा भी होगा कि जब हम कुछ सोसाइटी के साथ रिलेट करते हैं, दीज ड्रग एडिक्शन, ड्रग अब्यूज़ हैज़ ए डायरेक्ट इफ़ेक्ट ऑन आवर सोसाइटी। और चाहे वो क्राइम की बात हो, चाहे वो सोशल प्रेस्टेज की बात हो, चाहे वो लव की बात हो, चाहे वो अफेक्शन की बात हो, वो हमें इनमें फेस करनी पड़ती है। और जब आपने देखा होगा कि साउथ कश्मीर का एक बच्चा जो ड्रग्स में इन्वॉल्व था, बिकॉज़ जैसे आपको अभी आपने सुना है, इसके बाद भी सुनेंगे कि एक बात ये लत लगी तो ये लत लगती ही है, फिर बड़ा मुश्किल होता है कि इसको रिहैब करने की, बट इट समहाउ गेट्स रिहैबिलिटेटेड आल्सो। तो आपने भी पढ़ा होगा कि एक बच्चे को, जो अनंतनाग का बच्चा था, अनंतनाग के गाँव का बच्चा था, जो एक ड्रग्स में इन्वॉल्व था, जब उसको पैसे की ज़रूरत थी, जब उसको ड्रग्स की ज़रूरत थी, व्हाट ही डिड, व्हाट ही रिजॉर्टेड टू, यू ऑल नो प्रोबेबली। पैसा मांगा, लोगों से नहीं दिया किसी ने, प्रोबेबली माँ के पास गया, उसने भी नहीं दिया, एंड व्हाट अल्टीमेटली ही डिड, ही किल्ड हिज मदर। आपने भी पढ़ा होगा कि अपनी माँ को मारा और पैसे लिए वहाँ से ड्रग्स के लिए। इससे बड़ा क्राइम क्या होगा धरती पर? या इससे बड़ा गुनाह क्या होगा कि अगर कोई बच्चा या बच्ची ये कमेंट करे। और इससे बड़ी ज़लालत क्या होगी सोसाइटी में कि जब एक अपना बच्चा जिसको अपनी माँ ने 9 महीने अपनी कोख में रखा, फिर 3 साल अपनी गोद में रखा, दूध पिलाया, बड़ा किया, प्यार दिया, और वो उसी माँ को फिर मारता है अपनी 100 रुपये या 200 रुपये के लिए ताकि वो ड्रग्स ले। तो मेरी रिक्वेस्ट है सारे बच्चों से कि ऐसे एग्ज़ाम्पल्स हमें याद रखने चाहिए कि इनसे क्या असरात होते हैं बाद में। नंबर 1। नंबर 2, मेरी में एक मिसाल है कि एक ये तो क्राइम की बात आई, इसके बाद एक सोशल एस्पेक्ट या अफेक्शन की बात आई है। हमारे अपने, मैं बेसिकली आई एम फ्रॉम त्राल, हमारा एक रेस्पेक्टेड फैमिली है त्राल में। तो बाप एग्जीक्यूटिव इंजीनियर था कि सुपरिटेंडेंट इंजीनियर है, एक ही बच्चा था। शाम को बच्चा वापस ही नहीं आया। ये जस्ट वो पहली बात भी तकरीबन 1 साल पुरानी है और ये बात तो 6 महीने पुरानी है। तो शाम को बच्चा वापस ही नहीं आया। शाम को फैमिली ढूंढते हैं बच्चा क्यों नहीं आया वगैरह वगैरह, ढूंढते ढूंढते एक हमारा कॉलेज है वहाँ एक साइड में, वहाँ गए। उसके आगे ऑर्चर्ड्स हैं, तो वहाँ ढूंढा। व्हाट दे हैव फाउंड हिम स्लीपिंग, रादर ही वाज देयर एंड ही वाज ब्रॉट होम डेड। एक ही बच्चा था, अकलौता बेटा था उस अमीर बाप का। ही इज़ अ रेस्पेक्टेबल फैमिली ऑल्सो। तो ये भी आपको पता है कि माँ बाप, सारे बच्चे हैं यहाँ, माँ बाप कितना अफेक्शन और कितना ध्यान देता है अपने बच्चों के लिए। सब कुछ दाव पर लगाता है माँ बाप अपने बच्चों के लिए। मुझे जहाँ तक पता है, अब मेरा सब्जेक्ट जहाँ तक कहता है कि हर माँ बाप चाहे कुछ भी करता है, गुनाह भी करता है, गलत भी करता है, ठीक भी करता है, अल्लाह से भी मांगता है, सिर्फ अपने बच्चे के लिए। इतना अफेक्शन होता है बच्चे के साथ, इतना प्यार होता है बच्चे के साथ। अकलौता बेटा जब हो और वो भी जब फिर मरे बिकॉज ऑफ द ड्रग्स, बिकॉज दैट बॉय हैज़ टेकन ओवरडोज ऑफ ड्रग्स समवेयर इन द ऑर्चर्ड्स एंड ही was unconscious and he was brought to hospital where he was declared dead. So मेरी रिक्वेस्ट है 2 एग्जाम्पल मैंने, और इसके बाद जब अफेक्शन की बात आती है और इसके बाद एक सोशल एस्पेक्ट आता है। हर किसी एक्टिव का एक सोशल एस्पेक्ट आता है, क्योंकि हम कश्मीर में या ओवरऑल एशिया में हम एक क्लोज नेट रिलेशन में रहते हैं। हमारा जो सोशल सेटअप है, सोशल नेटवर्क है, वो बड़ा किनशिप रिलेशन है, वो बड़ा नेटवर्क। ये वेस्ट या यूरोप नहीं है कि माँ को बाप की पता नहीं होता है, बाप को बेटे का पता नहीं होता है। यहाँ हर रिश्तेदार से जान, एवरीबडी नोज ईच अदर। वी हैव अ क्लोज नेट सोसाइटी। एंड इस क्लोज नेट सोसाइटी में क्या पता चलता है, एक रेस्पेक्ट की बात आती है। हर कोई इस फैमिली या इस माँ बाप को फिर एक दूसरे नज़र से देखता है, उनका रेस्पेक्ट गिरता है। ऐसे भी होता है सोसाइटी में। दीज आर फ्यू एस्पेक्ट्स विच आई हैव टच्ड जस्ट फॉर एग्जाम्पल फॉर द ड्रग अब्यूज। द एक्सपर्ट्स विल टॉक ऑन द ड्रग अब्यूज एंड यू हैव सीन व्हाट इज द real picture of the drug addiction which you have seen in the documentary, which was an exhaustive documentary. And when it comes to our University of Kashmir, under the leadership of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, we always try to extend our full support to each and every department within our limited resources. And चाहे कोई भी डिपार्टमेंट हो, whether it is the Dean Students Welfare, whether it is social work, whether it is the sociology, whether it is the clinical biochemistry or any other department, we try to extend our full support, whether academic, research or extension activities support, we try to extend it with full. We have already under our different banners, we are going under the extension activity, whether it is Dean Students Welfare, whether it is clinical biochemistry or biochemistry, and we try to extend our full support. Particularly, Jose has already agreed that University of Kashmir has now, we are developing an infrastructure in terms of creating a drug diagnostic center here, and we have already upgraded our health center also in University of Kashmir, which has a testing facility. Almost all testing facilities are there, but we are upgrading the Department of Clinical Biochemistry also, And more so, we have started a program in University of Kashmir under the banner of Social Work Department, where we have started a course of certificate course in the drug de-addiction also. Two batches are already out from the Department of Social Work, where students from the 12th class have been admitted for the drug de-addiction counselors and the pass out is almost 50 pass out from that department. They are already working in different drug de-addiction centers at the different centers in Srinagar. And another part which we are coming with, we are hoping that there will be support from Commissioner Secretary is here. He will support particularly our clinical biochemistry department in upgrading our facilities, and I would request him, because he is holding a good position in the state UT government, I would request him also. We have already written to the government, but we need to introduce these subjects, particularly the biochemistry subject and clinical biochemistry subject. We need to introduce at lower level also. We particularly at the higher secondary level, we need to introduce these subjects, and college level also we need to introduce ourselves. And I must admit, as the registrar of this university, I admit that we get the best students. जो हमारी cream होती है subjects की, students की, they opt either for biochemistry or they opt for the clinical biochemistry. These are the departments which take the cream of the students at the University of Kashmir. And unfortunately, after completing their courses, whether they postgrad or even they go for the research, but unfortunately they get less opportunity to get absorbed themselves in the government sector. And I would request Saurabh Bhagat ji, being the Commissioner Secretary of DST and also being an influential bureaucrat at UT government, I would request him that he would also use his good offices for introduction of clinical biochemistry and biochemistry subjects at the level of higher secondary and the colleges. With these words, I again congratulate Dr. Fozia and his team, Dr. Saeed and others, and also I am grateful to the Directorate of School Education for deputing the teachers and the students to this function. Thank you all.
Very important cause. You know that Jammu Kashmir's government, under the able leadership of our Lieutenant Governor, has initiated what is called the Nasha Mukti Abhiyan. This Nasha Mukti Abhiyan is going on not only in JNK but pan the country. And why it has been done is that it is a real problem that we are facing. As you talked about the statistics, according to the enhanced survey, there is a 2.87% prevalence of drug addiction. One drug addict comes to a center every 12 minutes. 13.5 lakh drug users are available. And when we talk about drug users, we are talking in a very general type of a term. See, drug abuse is a very holistic type of phenomena. All of us used drugs during the COVID, and we all became doctors. We started using vitamin D and vitamin C and those kind of things which were not required for our system. Some of us even went and took away antiviral drugs which were not really prescribed for the situation. That is a mild kind of a drug addiction. All of us are addicted to, let's say, tea or coffee. Some of the people are smoke addicts. But we are not talking about that kind of addiction here. We're talking about the kind of addiction that destroys lives. We're talking about substances like cannabis, like heroin, like sedatives, amphetamines, hallucinogens, and these kind of drugs. Now, what leads to these kind of situation? I believe the subject matter is very pertinent to all of you, the school students who have been brought here. I have been told that in addition to the university students, the school students are here. I personally believe that when a child reaches the postgraduate stage, he becomes very sensible and he is not that much prone to drug addiction or other kind of vices as are the school children. So in your case, I think the peer group pressure, which is very, very important to confirm to a peer group. One of your friends is smoking, they say, "Aap bhi kar lijiye, to acha rahega." Unemployment is a huge problem. I was Secretary of the Employment Department 2018. We did a survey, we found 3.5 lakh postgraduates in J&K, which are product of the various universities of J&K. and they are not with a job. 3.5 lakhs in 2018, I do not know what is the current number, and these were all PhDs, these were all medical graduates, engineering graduates, and so on and so forth. Poverty definitely is an issue. Escapism is another issue. Availability of drugs is an issue. Then obviously porous borders, which we are trying to check. Fashion is also another issue. Indoctrination is also another issue. These are the various things I believe. I'm also in clinical psychology, so therefore I'm dwelling slightly beyond my role as a bureaucrat and trying to get into these issues. Now, family problems, it leads to family problems, domestic violence, crimes, alienation of sorts, sort of learned helplessness also. Also, it results in a lot of very serious problems. If you are a syringe user, you can also have hepatitis and other diseases which are spread through this, AIDS and sexually transmitted diseases and so on. So therefore, it is like an abyss in which you fall, then it is very difficult to come out of it. I also believe that your economic status is not a function whether you can become a drug abuser. A lot of drug abusers in Kashmir Valley and in Jammu region are from very affluent and rich families. So it has nothing to do with your economic status. Now, the thing is, we are definitely, it is very sad to say that we are now figuring among the top states like Punjab, UP, Manipur, Meghalaya, etc., which lead in this area. Now, we are also having a spread and prevalence. That's why government is now putting up various programs. Today's program is also, one of these sequels. Now, is government doing nothing about it? Not at all. Government is doing a lot of activities. The Social Justice and Empowerment Ministry runs a program called NAP DDD, basically which is about a national program for the drug addiction. The idea is that every district should have a drug de-addiction center. So I just talked to the health secretary before coming here, Mr. Bhupinder. He has told me that we already have 22 addiction centers, 20 in districts and 2 in the medical colleges. We also have what is called ATFs, so the additional treatment facilities, which are created in various institutions. So there are certain socio-economic conditions around that child, a peer group, or some people who are pulling him in the wrong direction. So therefore, it is necessary that even after you do the de-addiction part, the child goes back to the same society and again falls back into the same abyss. So therefore, changing the socio-economic status is also required. So it is necessary that our madrasas or our Maulvis also talk about how wrong this is. We have to use all the parts of the society to do it. We have to go in various niche groups, whether it is the farmers or whether it is the affluent belt of Kashmir. When we talk about the apple belt, why apple belt is being targeted for this kind of addiction? Because maybe there is a lot more money available to fund this kind of. Sometimes certain children from rich families are deliberately brought into this system so that they can fund the habits of their poorer friends. So all these dynamics need to be done. The Home Department is also doing its bit, social welfare is doing its bit, university is also doing its bit.
My dear students, you have heard since morning and you have been continuously hearing about the drug abuse. What are the ways? What should we know about the drug abuse? What should we know about the drugs? And also, how should we prevent ourselves from falling prey to this menace? Dear students, although age is not the factor for falling prey to the drugs, but because of the experiences, which I consider little experiences for these young minds, we often feel and find that the young minds fall prey to this menace. Our country, India, has been facing a lot of difficulties, a lot of challenges as far as this is concerned, menace is concerned. What is the plausible reason for this? We can assign certain things like population is there, poverty is there. I can't say it's a poverty, although sometimes I say the population is a positive thing. In the current context, manpower plays a part. But escapism is there. And our youth try to find out escapism through the use of the drugs. The important thing that is there is the limited awareness. And that is what is the crux line of this present program, is that we want to make our young minds, budding minds, flowering minds, to be aware of it, what it is. But at the same time, we do not want to make them dreadful. We only want to make them aware about the things so that they become themselves the ambassadors. Actually, one of the things that is impeding in our response to tackling this menace is the stigma that is associated with the drugs. I was listening to the documentary. The stigma is one of the primary things that basically hampers in, giving the solace to the people who have actually fallen prey. You have to be aware that this is not a problem, issue. It has to be treated in the similar way as we treat other diseases. And when we talk, one of the doctors was saying, yes, we have to treat it exactly the way that it is a problem, it is a disease, and our young minds, our youngsters, or those who have fallen prey to it, they need attention. And this attention is not only to be provided by the healthcare providers, it is to be provided by parents, it is to be provided by teachers, it is to be provided by the peers, means the ones who are in that group, peer colleagues, they play a very significant role. And that is where our job is to make you aware about it. Don't stigmatize this issue. Somebody has fallen ill, we never attach any stigma to him. Take it in that stride only that somebody is having an issue. We need to support him. And this is a reversible thing, phenomenon. ऐसा नहीं कि एक बार हो गया तो जो है it cannot be reversed. With grit, determination, and the support from the family, support from the peers, support from the friends, and support from the institutions, the person will definitely be back to the norm. I can cite 2 or 3 examples which will give you idea about that how the people have recovered. You have heard about Navjot Singh Sidhu, the cricketer and the politician. He was an addict. And he takes pride in saying that how his family and friends have helped him to come over this addiction. So that means that if he would not have been helped by the family and the friends, he would not have been the Navjot Singh Sidhu. I do have some of the other examples. Like for example, Yuvraj Singh, another cricketer. Although he was passing through a healthcare problem he was running through, he had cancer. He was battling with the cancer. So alongside with that, there were certain drugs that he was committed to. And he overcame that also. He overcame cancer also by the grit and the determination that he said. Pratik Babbar, he's an actor. Successful rehab program. And he actually gives you the inputs, how the addiction has taken the best part from him, and how he was in a position to rehab himself. This is what you basically have to act as an agent of change, that the problem is not there. Together we can just make a change. And long we have been advocating this. Seminars, symposiums, talks, very important though. But we have to do something practical. And how you can do practical? Here, there, we are having teachers, we are having faculty, we are having doctors, we are having practitioners. Something practical is to be done. Practical means everybody can contribute. Even these smaller children, they can contribute. How they can contribute? By making themselves aware about what are the pros and cons of this, and then spreading this message. Today, technology can play a part. Media has to play a part. And we have to all come up together and fight this menace. This is a menace if we treat it as a menace. And if we are able to overcome it, if we are able to sensitize our society and the community about it, gone will be the days when it will be treated as a menace. I will remind you, when it was early days of COVID-19, there was a stigma associated with it. भाई बिल्कुल साथ में मत रहिए, बिल्कुल जो है स्टिग्मा, अगर किसी के घर में जो है कोविड का जो है सिर्फ बात ही फैली, the whole it would be ostracized. And we have seen it, that when we fought it together, we have been able to overcome it. My dear friends, there are certain things that you need to know. Engage yourselves in, have a broader vision, young minds. How you will be able to do it? How you will be able to keep yourselves away? Educate yourselves. You need to educate yourselves. You need to know more. Choose the right plan. Avoid risky situations where you will fall prey to these problems. Develop healthy hobbies. Time should not be allowed to harp on you. You need to utilize the time. Have hobbies which will harp on your time, which will engage with your time. Avoid triggers. My dear students, everybody has a trigger. Try to find out what is this trigger which is creating trouble for me, and try to avoid this trigger. Stay informed and plan your future. And when you do these things, you will never fall prey to any ill issues. Leave aside the drugs.
I started this work probably very, very prematurely for the love of my friend in 2000 when I joined psychiatry. In 2000, probably June, I was in outpatient of SMHS hospital in room number 19, seeing patients. And I saw two elderly people almost dragging a young man inside my outpatient. I couldn't believe my eyes. The person was my best friend from the birth. We were born on 2 consecutive beds in a mission hospital. We went to same school. We were together till 12th class. We only changed the streams. He went for engineering and I went for MBBS. And we had not met. Because those were times of 90s, people will not meet very often. We did not have phones of communication. I had not met him long time. It really pained me when I saw him in that condition. And when I took the history and when I started seeing him, I found that he was diagnosed as substance dependence disorder, and currently had psychosis because of substances. I couldn't believe. Whole life I had tried to be, outsmart him by being first in the class. I couldn't do that. He was always the first. That started my tirades with the substance use. Whole night I couldn't sleep. I thought, why him? Why M? Because his name starts with M. Why M? What did he do wrong? What went wrong? I was from a very modest background. He was from a marginal. He had all the luxuries in the life. Why he? Only thing I could track is that, we together went for a picnic in 12th class. And we went to the famous Kukarnar garden. And all of us started tracking the mountain. And we sat at one place together, all of us. 3-4 girls, 10-20 boys, and we were talking, we were singing, and one of them got a cigarette out of his pocket. He wanted all of us to have a puff, to experience the ecstasy. He offered that to me. I do not know what happened. My mother's words and morality started reverberating in my eyes. I did not take that puff. I did not take that puff. Mr. M did. And another Miss G did. 2 of my best friends. The only connection I could find to the substance use was that puff. It started with that puff, that one puff, in that Kukarnar mountain. Nobody was looking at us. Nobody knew. Nobody knew our fate. And the fate was that. When I started writing about our policy, along with my colleagues in the department, that was the time that most of the policies in whole of India are based on harm reduction. I pressed on writing a policy on demand reduction, on awareness, on prevention. The reason was Mr. M. I knew that if you are able to prevent it that day, if you are refusing that path that day, then we are going to have able to help the substance use issue. My tirades with Mr. M continued for an year. We were able to actually somehow successfully treat him. He continued his profession as engineer. I'm lucky, I'm happy to share that he gave it up for life. He had no mental health issues thereafter. He is a very successful engineer. His daughter, I got a call yesterday that his daughter went into med school, joined 3 days back in a med school in Srinagar City. And that's a happy moment. On another ward round, and this is real, I'm not actually telling you stories which have been in newspapers. I'm telling you stories from my real life. And another, you remember that Ms. G. We had recently started this Ward 4 in the hospital, which was an open family ward when we were opening up the Institute of Mental Health. And I was the registrar, I was making the round, and I found a girl who, as soon as she saw me, she tried to cover her face. I couldn't recognize her. She might have been 90 to 100 kgs. Completely in psychosis, in mania, severe mental illnesses, which had remained with her from 95 onwards. Her father had died, her mother had died, her brother had abandoned her. She was left alone And that night she had actually developed seizures and was got by her neighbors to the hospital. And after that her brother had joined. We tried to help her whatever way we could. I couldn't believe that it could happen. Only recently, about 3 years back, I heard that she is no more. She died of an overdose. And that's substance use for you. That's substance use for the kids. There are only 3 pathways. There are only 3 pathways. If you do not do it, you live a happy life full of accomplishments. If you do it, there are 2 pathways again. Either you develop a mental illness, guaranteed. If you do not develop a mental illness, you are guaranteed to die young. And these are the pathways. If you want to live a healthy mental health, substance use is probably the most modifiable factor. One of the most modifiable factors. And remember this for life. For me, those 2 important individuals made me to start advocacy. You could find Greater Kashmir laden with my articles from 2000 to 2008 on the issue of substance use. I continuously wrote about it. I tried to set up facilities, from very small facility in police de-addiction center to currently 13, 14 ATFs. All of us worked together to have them in all states. I was moved by these 2 persons. Why I'm saying this repeatedly 2 persons? Because I do not want it to be sensationalized. I don't think that telling that 60 lakh people in Kashmir are substance use makes it a bigger problem. I do not think so. Sensationalization trivializes the problem. Please do not sensationalize it. We have a proper survey done by Institute of Mental Health by the lead researcher, Professor Yasir, which clearly speaks about the magnitude of the problem. Let's stick with that. But even if there's a single individual who has issues with the substance use, just think of this Mr. M and Miss G. Look at their families, look at their trajectories in life, and look at what kind of problems it creates. So you do not need to have lakhs of people to recognize a problem. Because what it does many a times is that it sensationalizes and it trivializes the problem, and you feel that everybody is taking it. That's not true. In this room, I do not see substance users. I do not see substance users. So for us, even if the single individual, probably Professor Abdul said about this code problem, even if there was a single person with substance use, COVID, we used to be alarmed. Why? What was the alarm? The alarm was there was a chance of spread. And to our dismay, substance use actually spreads like that, from peer to peer. Even if in a school there's a single kid who has this issue, the chances of actually those kids having this kind of problem is very, very high. All of them become at risk. What was happening during COVID? Anybody in your family, you'll be all at risk. Anybody in the school, all of you become at risk. So the issue is about the qualitatively how this problem affects. Our registrars have spoke about the social dimension, the legal dimensions of it. Now how it is one of the important predictors of crime in our society at this moment of time.
Our department's 10 district addiction surveys with IMHANS and Social Welfare Department found frightening numbers. Kashmir Division has 70,000 addiction use patients, predominantly adolescents, and 50,000 heroin users, most of whom are intravenous drugs. Our addiction treatment facilities report that 50% of IV heroin users have hepatitis C, which affects the liver and immune system. Substance and behavioral addictions affect individuals, families, and society. The numbers are clear. The pandemic is destroying lives, families, and communities. Our change commitment. However, today we discuss the issues and our steadfast commitment to fighting addiction. Our department saves lives, promotes recovery, and makes lasting change. We believe all addicts deserve a healthier, happier future. Comprehensive plans and programs. We have devised a comprehensive set of policies and programs that target addiction from numerous angles to achieve this mission. Then comes the prevention. Prevention, the greatest method to treat addiction is to prevent it from happening in the first place. Our preventive programs teach people, especially youth, about addiction and how to make healthy choices. We provide evidence-based treatment solutions for everyone struggling with addiction. We prioritize affordable and accessible health care to help everyone recover. Kashmir has addiction treatment facilities, ATFs, in most district hospitals. We established these ATFs before rest of India. When we set up these ATFs over 2 years ago, just 5 of 300 ATFs in India were operational. People affected by the use might contact these ATFs. About 6,000 patients with addiction disorders are treated at health department affiliated ATFs. Working with the UT Social Welfare Department, our department provides the support and resources needed to sustain recovery. We know that policy changes are needed to sustain change. We support evidence-based addiction treatment and prevention initiatives. Then comes community management. To encourage belonging and support, we actively engage with communities. We aim to decrease stigma, promote open communication, and create a safe space for addicts and their families. From January to March 23, we ran Valiv Kath Karab, Let Us Talk, a successful mental health and addiction treatment awareness initiative. Then we work together, collaboration drives our endeavors, and we work with other government departments, educational institutions, and many other organizations to reduce addiction's hold on society. Now there's a call to action. We should all join in this critical effort today. Addiction is difficult, but we can overcome it. Your role is crucial as a teacher, policy maker, healthcare professional, community leader, or concerned citizen. Support us, promote evidence-based policies, volunteers, or help someone in need. We can end addiction's hold on our communities. Last, remember the addiction is worth fighting. Our addiction program and policies are dedicated to that struggle, and together we can succeed. Thank you for your support, time, and commitment to a healthy, addiction-free future. Thank you so much.